Man, videos don't stop, do they? No, no, no. We've got more award shows coming up. Well, one more before we get a long break before we get to stuff like BAFTA, the Guild Awards, stuff like that coming up. We're gonna have a busy schedule here in the next few weeks and eventual months as it turns out, leading up to the Oscars on in late February. There, I don't even know the date. Not important because we are here right now to give predictions for the Screen Actors Guild Awards. Um, they only started in 1994. So this is what, the 22nd, which is the same amount of time Critics' Choice has been around. Then you get something like Golden Globes, who just had their 74th this year. This will be their 74th. And yeah, usually when it comes to who announces first, Globes or SAG, they're usually right around the same time. They've even been within days of each other, or a day of each other, I should say. I think last year that was the case. Usually, the one that comes out first is a warning sign of, okay, here are some weirder picks that we didn't see coming that could potentially get in at SAG, or vice versa, depending on who comes first. So this year, yeah, we had the Globes first. And yeah, you probably saw my video here earlier today. Weird stuff like Jonah Hill for War Dogs, Simon Helberg for Florence Foster Jenkins, and no Michael Shannon, no Tom Hanks, no Kate Beckinsale. All of these, people who had much better odds just getting dumped by the wayside, and their films getting nothing. Like Silence went home empty-handed. Or it didn't even, yeah, it doesn't even get to show up, I should say. Sully, same deal. And then you got stuff like Hell or High Water, which was down in the list. Not a whole lot of people were giving it a whole lot of faith. Makes it in for Best Film Drama. Then you got stuff like Sing Street, which was out very, very early and didn't get a whole lot of traction in the awards buzz. All of a sudden, bam, it's one of the 5 best comedy films of the year at the Globes. And Deadpool makes it there, and that came out in February. Huge box office hit, sure. And the more I thought about it, I was like, crap, I should have put that in. The same for me goes with stuff like Kenneth Lonergan. It was like for director, because I was like, damn, I knew I shouldn't have left him out. But at the same time, somebody like Mel Gibson gets in, who is not a huge Oscar frontrunner right now. Not in the top probably 7 or 8 contenders on a lot of sites. When you view him, I put him in today for Best Director. I'm like, hell, if he can make it to Critics' Choice and Globes against the odds he gets, if he can get in over somebody like Denzel Washington and other directors like that, I think he's got a better shot now. Now, as far as if he gets into like BAFTA or DGA, that's going to be telling. If he can make it in there, that's going to be something. I do have, though, an early prediction for DGAs. You were definitely looking at Damien Chazelle, definitely looking at Barry Jenkins, definitely looking at Kenneth Lonergan. The big question is who's going to be those 2 final slots. Does Scorsese come back? Because by then Silence will have screened for everybody. It didn't. Evidently, the word on the street is it just did not screen in time for the foreign press. Same goes with Critics' Choice. It did not screen in time. That's why there was no nominations last night at Critics' Choice. That's why there's no nominations this morning at Golden Globes for Silence. And it's just the question of, yeah, does Scorsese get back into the fold, or is somebody like Mel Gibson going to come up, or somebody like who I'm kind of worried about now is David Mackenzie. They usually like to go with a really weird off-ball pick at DGA, who at least at first seems like that, but then eventually gets in at the Oscars. Somebody like last year, Adam McKay, who did, yeah, sure, he got into BAFTA first, and that was the first sign of, uh-oh, Big Short's in the director race now. And it turned out to be true. And yeah, there's some stuff that happened this morning that made me say, okay, Screen Actors Guild, especially when you look at last year, they had the weirdest choice, like Sarah Silverman getting in for I Smile Back. That's the name of the movie. I couldn't remember it yesterday. And then you had Helen Mirren getting 2 of the slots, one for Best Supporting Actress for Trumbo, another one was lead actress for Woman in Gold. Both, well, less or so on Trumbo. She had a little buzz to her there. But more so, definitely on the Woman in Gold, nobody had been saying she's a threat for Best Actress until then. Of course, she never got in anywhere else. Same with Sarah Silverman. But yeah, then stuff like Jacob Tremblay getting in for Room last year and supporting actor was like, wow, we did not think that was going to happen. Instead, you had the two spotlight guys competing back and forth. Neither one of them made it in for the Globes or for SAG. Turns out Mark Ruffalo was arguably in second or third place at the Oscars, and he got in. So, yeah, with all that stuff happening this morning at the Globes, there were some changes I made to the Screen Actors Guild. I think this is the first time, actually, I've been given official predictions for these. But yeah, let's just start. Again, there's only 5 categories here, so this video hopefully will be shorter here. And we're not going to harp back on what happened this morning, because I did a whole... That was 43 minutes. I think that's enough time to give to them until we get to the actual award show. Then we'll have more discussions to be made there. Anyways, but yeah, let's get into the outstanding cast, or whatever you want to call this top category here, a film ensemble, or I call it outstanding cast. Both are right. Anyway, so I'm going to go with La La Land is for sure going to get in. Manchester by the Sea, Moonlight, here we go. Nocturnal Animals, and Hidden Figures. Yeah. I had 20th Century Women and Fences in here. Both could still be, I mean, I'm not going to be surprised if it's those 3, La La Land, Manchester, and Moonlight, who are, it's going to be shocking if one of them misses. Even more shocking if like 2 of them miss. But anyway, it's not going to happen. Fences, very much underperformed this morning at the Globes. Only 2 nominations. True, they were both acting nominations, so maybe that goes against my point of taking it out, because I did have it in previously. Here's the thing, though. No screenplay, no director, no picture drama. Of those 5, or those 3, sorry, other categories, the most shocking had to be Best Picture Drama. I mean, the Globes usually go a little bit, even more so sometimes than the Oscars, go towards sentimental. Not really the case this year. I mean, look at Hell or High Water. That's not a sentimental movie. That's a pretty dark and grittier, maybe not dark, but a grittier movie. And very low budget and very, don't waste a dime. This is all we've got movie. Same goes with Nocturnal Animals, which probably if there were 6 nominees in the Best Picture Drama category, Nocturnal Animals would have been one of them. It gets in for screenplay, supporting actor for Aaron Taylor Johnson of all people, and director. Yeah, that's showing that it did well with foreign press. So, but then I looked again at that ensemble, and it's like Jake Gyllenhaal, Amy Adams, Michael Shannon, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Laura Linney, Isla Fisher. I think there's probably more that I haven't seen the movie yet, so I don't know for sure how many more, but there's more in there, and it's like, and all of them are in more or less in that top 10 to 15 contenders for their separate categories. Especially somebody like Aaron Taylor Johnson got a boost today. But if Jake Gyllenhaal, some people have still been saying has a possibility here. Amy Adams, I mean, if she doesn't make it in for Arrival, they could bait and swap that one for lead actress for her. And yeah, Michael Shannon, I have him getting nominated here at Screen Actors Guild. And then Hidden Figures, it only got 2 nominations at SAG this morning, or at Golden Globes, I mean. That was for Octavia Spencer and for original score, which tiny category there. It's not a huge deal breaker. But I look again at that ensemble. You've got potentially double nominations for like Mahershala Ali, or 3 nominations technically. He'll be nominated for the cast of Moonlight, cast of Hidden Figures, and his own nomination for supporting actor for Moonlight. He's in there. You've got Taraji P. Henson. You've got the actress, sorry, who's escaped my mind, the one who got nominated Critics' Choice. Names escape me. Octavia Spencer, I might have said her already. Yeah, Kevin Costner, Jim Parsons, Kirsten Dunst is in there. Again, there's more that are in there that I'm forgetting right now. But hang on, it's bugging me. I got to figure out what her name is. Sorry, Janelle Monáe. That's right. For in Hidden Figures there. Yeah, so that's again an outstanding cast. Plus, you look at last year. When you get to this whole Oscars so white thing again, to bring that up, because that's always a pleasure to bring up. The Screen Actors Guild was the most diversified by like 300% or something. I don't know. I made that up. I don't know, but it was like they gave so many uh, notices to African American casts. Like you had Beast of No Nation in the best cast, which nobody saw coming. You gave and for that film they gave Idris Elba Best Supporting Actor, first Screen Actors Guild winner to not have an Oscar nomination the same year. That's how much they like that movie. Um, yeah, so they just with that film alone. Um, and then you had other surprises in there. I got to look up who else was nominated last year. I thought there was another one. As we're waiting here. Straight Outta Compton. There we go. Yeah. I was like, I knew there was another, mainly African American cast I got in there. And yeah, that was definitely, you know, Straight Outta Compton. Yeah. So they, just knowing that Moonlight and Hidden Figures could be those two cases this year. Not to say that we're worried about another Oscar so white. At this point, we're definitely not. But, you know, they like to diversify a little bit more here at Screen Actors Guild. So yeah, I think that's the case there. However, again, that does make a good reason for something like Fences to get in. And yeah, I'm not going to say something like 20th Century Women, Hell or High Water, or even Silence if it did screen. We don't know for sure how widely it was screened. Or something like Hail Caesar, or Rules Don't Apply, or Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk, or Lion, or even something like Hacksaw Ridge, or Florence Foster Jenkins. All sorts of possibilities here. In fact, I would say even Florence Foster Jenkins as one did so well at the Globes this morning. I'm not going to be too shocked if somebody like Meryl Streep sneaks in over Isabelle Huppert, or even Amy Adams, or Ruth Negga for Best Actress. I'm not going to be totally shocked. If it does happen, that doesn't mean she's automatically getting an Oscar nomination for it, but definitely a sign that she had more strength in this race than we originally thought. And so, yeah, but there's all sorts of other possibilities here. This is definitely one of the harder categories this year. But yeah, for sure you can bet your dollar on La La Land, Manchester by the Sea, and Moonlight, with the other two slots kind of being a little bit of everything potentially. We'll move on to Best Actor in a Leading Role. Denzel Washington for Fences is getting in. Casey Affleck for Manchester by the Sea. Ryan Gosling's a good bet for La La Land. And again, it's kind of these two bottom slots that we're not 100% sure on. Joel Edgerton, he made it in this morning for Loving, and I think, again, he's terrific in the movie. And Andrew Garfield made it in for the Golden Globes this morning. I think we're going to have that same 5 lineup at Screen Actors Guild on Wednesday. I'm recording this Monday night, just in case you didn't know. Yeah, and then Tom Hanks for Sully missed out at Globes this morning in place of Viggo Mortensen for Captain Fantastic. It's a possibility, but not one that I'm going to say 100% to. Just a couple days ago, I was predicting Colin Farrell to get in for The Lobster instead of Andrew Garfield, because they do like their oddball choices here. That's somebody like Jacob Tremblay or Sarah Silverman from last year, or even Helen Mirren in the same category. I don't know. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, you know what? Let's just go with the safe bets. Of course, I'm going to say that now. Wednesday morning, I'm going to get up. Colin Farrell's in, and I'm like, shit, damn it, and I'm going to be yelling at myself. It'll be another live reactions like it was this morning for that. And again, let's not forget Jake Gyllenhaal for Nocturnal Animals. This could be maybe the one spot he gets into as well. Usually, like last year, we had Johnny Depp get in here. He missed everywhere else. And let me look back. Wasn't there another one the year before that? I got to look again to see. Nope. Gyllenhaal did get in for Nightcrawler here, but he got in almost everywhere else too. Here's one. Forrest Whitaker. That's who I was thinking of. Yeah, for The Butler back in 2013. That was one where he showed up, never saw him again, never got another nomination anywhere else in the season. So they do like some oddball choices here. So somebody like Colin Farrell or Jake Gyllenhaal really fit the bill here to get that weird slot. Vigo also kind of fits that bill. So let's not discard those choices either. But yeah, let's I mean, again, we're gonna go Hacksaw Ridge for Andrew Garfield, not for Silence because it potentially didn't screen in time. Joel Edgerton for Loving, Ryan Gosling for La La Land, Casey Affleck Manchester by the Sea, and Denzel Washington for Fences for those five. Best Actress, I'm gonna go with Natalie Portman for Jackie, Emma Stone for La La Land, Annette Bening for 20th Century Women, Ruth Negga for Loving, and I'm gonna throw in Amy Adams for Arrival. However, again, we get a stacked category here for Best Actress. About the next 3 or 4 people, I mean, there's a potential here where there's like 5 or 6 other potentials. Potential nominees who could maybe slip into almost any of these races, with maybe the exception of Natalie Portman and Emma Stone. Those two, it's going to be hell to pay if one of those two miss. But even Annette Bening could get overshadowed. Maybe 20th Century Women doesn't screen very well with Screen Actors Guild. Maybe she scores everywhere but here, Same could go with Ruth Negga. Same could apply for Amy Adams. And again, she could knock herself out for Nocturnal Animals if that really does well. Yeah, so Isabelle Huppert, I think, is definitely the most likely there, with Meryl Streep being very closely behind her. And then, yeah, you get like Sally Field and Taraji P. Henson for Hidden Figures, who are in, not totally out of this yet. So, but yeah, I'm just going to go with those basic 5 there for now. Moving on to Supporting Actor, which is always a tough category here, especially last year when I got I probably only got 2 right last year. And looking back, I had Elba and I had Rylance, and that was it. I missed Jacob Tremblay, I missed Michael Shannon for 99 Homes, and I did miss Christian Bale for the Big Short. This year, oh boy, sizing up, it's probably going to be easier because like the year before it was easy. It was going to be Foxcatcher, it was going to be Whiplash and Birdman and The Judge for Robert Duvall, and that was an easy one to predict 4 or 5 of the nominees there for this award and for Golden Globes for Supporting Actor. This year, there's a little bit more diversity in there, as this morning proved. You got Mahershala Ali for Moonlight is almost guaranteed a lock. I would say Lucas Hedges, but he missed this morning at Globes. But occasionally that does happen. Jeff Bridges for Hell or High Water, very likely bet. Then Dev Patel, he's gotten in just about everywhere he can so far with Golden Globes and with Critics' Choice. So I'm putting him in, and then I am putting in Michael Shannon again for Nocturnal Animals. And yeah, I'm starting to worry about somebody like Liam Neeson becoming this year's Michael Keaton, who at this point last year everybody's like, oh, it's gonna be Keaton, it's gonna be Keaton, it's gonna be Keaton. And then, boom, he just gets nowhere the whole season, just nothing. Yeah, we'll see what happens with Liam Neeson for Silence, but so far he has been completely left out, so I'm dumping him for at least for Wednesday. Of course, this is going to be where Silence picks up. Hugh Grant got in this morning for the Globes. He was in lead, but he'll be supporting everywhere else. Then we can't discount people like Ben Foster for Hell or High Water, or even, from this morning again, Aaron Taylor Johnson for Nocturnal Animals. Again, they could swap out Shannon for Johnson. It could happen. But yeah, that's one where sure there's again a little bit more fluidity to that race. So we don't know for sure on that one again. Okay, and then for Supporting Actress, I think this is actually going to be one of the easier categories. Viola Davis for Fences, Michelle Williams for Manchester by the Sea, Naomi Harris for Moonlight, Nicole Kidman for Lion, and I'm going to put Greta Gerwig again in for 20th Century Women. However, again, we got 2 people here that I'm thinking could be, again, some odd choices here. And number 1 is the double nominee from last year, Helen Mirren for Eye in the Sky. I did recently see that, and she's good in everything she does. She's good in that movie. Good enough to get in here? Maybe. I think she did just as good a job as she did in stuff like Trumbo, which she got into a whole bunch of races last year for that. And then you have Molly Shannon for Other People, who is only in so far, I think, at Any Spirits and maybe a couple of those other, like maybe a runner-up at some of those Critics Awards, the regional awards, She could surprise. Sarah Silverman surprised last year with a comedic actress who takes a dramatic turn. Same goes with Molly Shannon this year. Almost duplicating that role in a way. I didn't end up seeing I Smile Back, but I've heard it's they're kind of almost similar roles with a couple of exceptions. But it's the same premise of taking a very, very famous comedic actress and doing a twist and giving a dramatic role. But yeah, the one that I might just switch at the last minute here, and I'll let you know if I do, is Janelle Monáe for Hidden Figures. I might just put her in instead of Greta Gerwig. I am very confident though in those other four. Those other four are pretty solid. Again, we could see a weird pick for like Elle Fanning or Octavia Spencer here for their respective roles in 20th Century Women for Elle Fanning and Octavia, of course, for Hidden Figures. Again, we'll see how that film ensemble category goes, but yeah, there's usually right. There's a film that gets in for ensemble that doesn't get any nominations, any individual nominations. I mean, it was close last year, but Spotlight almost did that. Last year, yeah, there was an exception where that happened. But then you have something like Grand Budapest Hotel, which arguably was in second or third place here in 2014. That didn't have any individual nominations, but it had that huge ensemble cast. I think that could be the case definitely for something like Hidden Figures. But yeah, otherwise, La La Land's going to have its big two. Manchester could have three. Moonlight's going to have a couple. And Nocturnal Animals, I have Michael Shannon in there. This is usually pretty close to the formula that ends up turning out who and decides who are the nominees for outstanding cast. Usually, it's something like one that doesn't have any nominations other than film ensemble. Straight Outta Compton last year didn't have any individual nominations. That's right. The more you know. Nocturnal Animals has one. Moonlight and La La Land have two. Manchester by the Sea has three, at least from what I'm predicting so far. That's a pretty good formula to use. I try to follow a formula like that when I'm predicting Screen Actors Guild or even Critics' Choice to some degree, or Golden Globes. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's probably all I got for now. Yeah, the Screen Actors Guild, it's going to be a little less exciting because it's not the first one out of the gate this year like Globes was. We can kind of predict a couple of twists and turns the same way we usually can at the Globes after Screen Actors Guild has happened already. But yeah, we'll see what happens. And the Screen Actors Guild Award show is in January sometime. I think it's again slightly after the Globes. So we'll see how things turn out from here. But yeah, on Wednesday morning, expect a lot of things out of Manchester by the Sea. That'll probably win the morning with most nominations. Expect a lot out of Moonlight. Expect a lot out of La La Land. And everything else gets scattered in between. So that's all I've got for there.